I forgot to add myself to the stream, so forgive me if you've watched the first couple seconds and I wasn't there. This is Mark Goldberg from Mark Vlogs Watches, and we are live here from the Dog Trainer Studios. And today I want to talk to you briefly about a topic that's near and dear to my heart and yours, and that topic would be Rolex. We are here today. It is... I'm looking at my watch, which I'll do a quick fist watch check in just a moment. But I'm looking at my watch for the date. However, I've just pulled it out of the bank and I haven't yet set the date. So what is it, the 22nd? I believe today is the 22nd. Well, first, I would like to talk to the people in the room because this is a live broadcast. If you are tuning in to this video on YouTube and you find the shenanigans talking in the room annoying, then just scrub ahead 3-4 minutes and then we'll be focused on the topic at hand. But I would like to say hello to 50 of you who have popped in so incredibly fast. Thank you, David B., Bud the Stud, Danger Will Robinson, Oleg Doc, and many of you leaving, Nick Jones, people leaving comments. So now there are a few questions, and David asked, Mark, have you ever considered purchasing a full precious metal piece? Yes, that's a little bit partly what we got to talk about here. Gray Moon, Valen Gray Moon, Fistos, Respectos, you are my main man. This gentleman is usually the first fist in any given video. Okay, let me jump into the topic here a little bit, guys, and then feel free to super chat. Feel free to super chat for the dog food fund, but you don't have to. Feel free to like this video. Live streams almost always get a lot of thumbs down, I think, because they're just annoying if you look at them later. But if you're in the room now and you give it a thumbs up, it'll help balance things out a little bit. And thank you if you should subscribe to my channel, although if you don't, who could blame you? Okay, guys, let's do the quick fist watch check. Let's talk about this. We got to discuss some things. Fist watch check. Today I am wearing, can you tell what that is? It's a big monster. Look at the thickness. Look at the thickness, like wearing a hockey puck. Who can tell what this is? Tell me in the comments. I know the lighting isn't the best, guys, but see what you can do. Y'all know my collection. What is this sucker? Let me give you a little hint. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to give you guys a little hint. Oleg Doc coughs it up, and he said it is the James Cameron. Indeed it is. Very hard to see the blue in this light. Look at the... let me show you guys how the clasp works, because the glide lock clasp on a Submariner is a really cool thing. Okay, great engineering. This clasp blows it out of the water, and not a lot of people know how it works. Now, if you're going to adjust the glide lock clasp on a Submariner or on a Sea Dweller, this is the Deep Sea Sea Dweller James Cameron edition. Okay, but if you're going to adjust the clasp on those guys, you have to take the watch off of your wrist. This one is entirely adjustable on the wrist. There's way more engineering in this puppy. It's going to be a little awkward, but let me see if I can figure it out. You pick this open, and then guess what? This thing here flips up. Did you see that? Look at that. Let me just kind of make it clearer. Oh, this is probably a better angle. I'm going to close everything up. Here it is on the wrist. This is an expensive bit of engineering, my friends, which is why I think they only put it on this big bad boy. And if you can see inside there, see those ratchets? There's a bunch of ratchets in there, which enables me to slide the bracelet in and out. And it's just folding into itself. When you catch it in the right position, you just close that up again and flip the little lock down, which means you are never taking this puppy off in order to adjust it. It is an incredible thing of beauty. Super engineering. And I was preparing to sell it. And in fact, which I'll talk to you about why, but I'm sure I've changed my mind. I'm going to keep it. And I'll tell you what the thinking process is here. As we're getting closer and closer to the day that Rolex will make their announcements in early September, I don't know about you, but I've been getting progressively crazier. Like the OCD is just coming on me strong. Somebody throw in the comments for me the day. Is it September 1? I don't know the exact day in September. I don't remember it anyway. Somebody throw it in the comments. What day is Rolex gonna going to tell us what's new. And I will go back into your comments and answer questions because I know there's a lot of them right now. But I want to stay on point for a quick second relating to this. So I thought that I would sell this thing. And why? Well, look at the thickness of this monster. I mean, it's really hard for me to find my camera angles, but from here, it looks pretty good. I have a 7¼ inch flat wrist bone, so I could carry this off just about, just about. Well, what do you think? You're looking at it. I mean, believe me, I know it wears big because it is big, but does it look ridiculous? But I'll tell you where it, I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit because I loosened it. And this is such a monster watch that you don't want it toppling around on your wrist. Okay. This is the Mark I dial and Mark I bracelet. Okay, so this is a little narrower here, which looks cool, but makes it a little wobbly on the wrist. And that really is the problem. This sucker is heavy. And Nick Jones says it looks great. Well, thank God, because I decided I'm going to keep it. It's a very, very special watch, I think. But it's thick, okay? It's like, look, it's thick. Like when you wear this, you just never forget that you're wearing the biggest, baddest, meanest, heaviest chunk of steel that Rolex makes. I mean, there's heavier watches because probably even the Platinum Day Date is, heavier than this because Platinum is just so, I wore that watch. I tried that watch on. It's amazing. It's gorgeous, that Platinum Day Date, but holy cow, it is heavy. I mean, maybe I would have gotten used to it, like if I was spending that kind of money on a watch. But while I tried it on at the AD, what was going through my mind was, holy cow, could I get used to it? Because it felt like such a, almost like a burden. And that's what this feels like. I have a love-hate relationship with this watch. I love how it looks. I love wearing the thickest, baddest, meanest chunk of steel sports watch that Rolex makes, on the one hand. And on the other hand, it's like you got to suffer for your art. It's like you don't forget that you're wearing this thing. So why did I decide to keep it? I decided to keep it because somebody's saying that the solid gold Sky Dweller is really heavy and thick, and it is. I have the two-tone Sky Dweller, which we're going to talk about, but it's not as thick as this. This is almost 18 millimeters thick, so it's off the charts. Like I said, it's like strapping a hockey puck onto your wrist. So why did I decide to keep it? Well, it's a special edition, right? In fact, this is the only watch which Rolex has actually named after a human being. They've given it a nickname, which is official. They've named it for James Cameron, the guy who went down in his sub and went down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, which is like the deepest, darkest place on Earth. The Mariana Trench. And so this is officially named the James Cameron. And they only made this one for like 2.5 years before they said, oops, we screwed up here. We're going to redesign it a little bit. The lugs, the width, we're going to change it up a little bit. And then right between the Swiss and the Maid at the bottom of the dial, they stuck a coronet. This one just has a little line. So this is what you would call the Mark I iteration. I think, what is it? The 116660 is what we have here, unless I miss my guess. And its replacement, which looks super similar. It's very hard to tell them apart by eye, unless you look at that little coronet on the dial. The Mark II is what? The 21660, if I don't miss my guess. So here's the thing. It's a hard watch to wear around on the daily. A Submariner is easy. This thing is like brutal. Like this is like walking across hot coals to get to something really good. Is it worth it? Well, it kind of depends on what's on the other side. So, but this makes me feel beastly, brutal, manly. You know who I feel like when I wear this watch? I feel like what I imagine a manly man like Andy Hunter feels like all day long. Not Archie Luxury. He's a little effeminate, don't you think? I love him, but he loves gay men. I'm talking about Andy Hunter, a man's man, a Greek. You know what they say. They invented manliness, a hairy Greek man. And I feel like just like I could strap on a cowboy hat, chomp on a cigar. I could ride across the plains like John Chisholm, a one-eyed fat man on a big old horse with a Winchester rifle. This is how that watch makes me feel. Okay. So I thought I would part with it because I don't wear it all that much. And then I decided, I'm going to try and wear this once in a while. I'm going to commit better to doing that. Let me show you a picture of it because I think I can give you a better concept of the dial. If we take a peek at it here, hang tight, guys. See if it renders okay. But like, look at that. It's got the top of the dial, the first top of the dial, it's like a bright blue, and then it fades into black. Just like, as James Cameron took his sub down, it was sunny, and then it got darker and darker and darker until he went into the pitch and inky blackness. So I'm keeping it. Okay, this is a full set. I bought it in stickers, used, gray market, but in stickers. So I'm gonna keep it. Why do I want to sell any Rolex? Good question. I feel like I have too many watches, and I get angst from trying to rotate them all. I'm not one of these people who just gets off on owning a watch and just psychologically knowing that I own it and that it's in a drawer or in the bank or in a safe. There are a lot of people who get pleasure from that. Archie always talks about getting pleasure from hoarding and owning and denying it to somebody else, the schadenfreude of it all. And I'm not like that. I think things are meant to be used. So I wind up feeling weird and strangely obsessive and guilty if I own a thing that I don't use. And then it makes me want to get rid of it so that I can alleviate myself of the burden. I'm Jewish, but I should have been born Catholic. Well, then again, we share the guilt, right? Jewish guilt, Catholic guilt, very, very similar. So I wind up feeling like, like I should use it. Okay. So in the big watch genre, I also own, it's more wearable than this. It's just not as cool as this. The Sea Dweller, the 43 millimeter Sea Dweller. It's a beautiful watch, but here's what I want to do. I'm going to sell it. Now, as to the why, I've decided what I want is I want to own fewer pieces, and I want to own better pieces. I want the things that appeal to me on the highest level and fewer of them, so I can rotate them. So I've got enough wrist time. I mean, I'm not going to wander around like Fidel Castro with 2-on-1 or the Norman Schwarzkopf. I wish I could do that. I could like double up my rotation, but I just can't pull off a Norman Schwarzkopf. Speaking of manly men, I can't do it. He was the general during the first Iraq War, and he wore 2 time zones, 1 on each wrist. Well, so that Sea Dweller, it doesn't really fit. It's big. It's not as hard to wear as this. Okay, it's easier to wear than this one is, but it's not easy. Okay, the only easy diver to wear that I've encountered is the Submariner. So, I don't know. I figure I'll sell the 43 millimeter Redline Sea Dweller. So that will put me down in rotation a little bit better. And then we got to talk about what I want to buy too, right? But I think that's going to go. Before I go any further, here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to make videos on the watches that I will be selling. So there will be individual like unboxings or reviews of those watches. I will show those watches. I think I can do it in high def. I'm not very technical, but I'm pretty sure I can do it in high def. Upload it. I'll put prices in the descriptions of the watches. And so don't email me now about trying to buy a watch. Let me make a video for you on each of the watches that I'll be selling. And what I'll do is I'll put price in the description of the video, and the price is going to be firm, but I'm going to come up with a fair price, like a good price. Won't be stupid. You don't get to fist me, you people. This is all that makes you happy. Okay. So no, you don't get to fist me. However, I'll put a good solid price that makes you say, yeah, I should buy that if you're interested in that model. But wait till the video comes out. Okay, so the Sea Dweller 43 millimeter, that one's going to go. Who just said in the comments? Somebody just mentioned. Well, there's a lot of comments, guys, so you'll have to forgive me that I haven't gotten into them, but I will. I will go back and get into the comments. But somebody in the peanut gallery just mentioned that they have a 14060M. That is a 2-line, no date sub. It was like the first, it's a transitional, and it has superluminova, not tritium. Okay, I have one of those. It's going. So if you're going to be in the market for a 14060M, there's a 2-line, no date sub pre-ceramic. I have one. I will make the video on it. I will sell it. I have a 16613. That is and it's a full set, as is the Sea Dweller. The 16613 is it's a bluesy. It's a pre-ceramic two-tone bluesy, and it's a very pretty watch. If you like pre-ceramics, I just don't love pre-ceramics. I love ceramic. I like the new stuff, the bigger, the bolder, the brawnier. I just don't really think I want to be buying a bunch of things in the 42, 43, 44 millimeter range. And but I like the super case look of the 40 millimeter Submariner. And that bluesy is going to have to go. Now, I know some of you are thinking, gee, you've talked about this, but you never really got around to doing it. Well, it's time. It's time, because I've done the math and I own too many. So in a moment, I'll finish telling you what I'm selling. Then I'm going to tell you what I'm getting or what I would like to get. Okay, so those three are going to go. That Sky Dweller, the two-tone full set creamy white dial Sky Dweller, I really like that watch. I really like that watch, but I'm going to part with it. I'm like 98% sure that I'm going to part with that Sky Dweller. And the reason is that it's big. What are they? They're like 42, 40. It's like 42, but I feel like it wears like a 43 millimeter. It's thick and it's complicated. So it has some super cool complications with, because it's an annual calendar. So it's got some incredible, it's the most complicated Rolex in current production. And it's in the sports line. So it's a beautiful, amazing. I really like it. And I admire anybody who loves that watch. It's a great watch. The but is, the functions that it has are so seamlessly integrated into the dial and function of the watch that they don't really jump out at you. And consequently, to me, it just wears like a giant Datejust. So for me, it just winds up being a giant, expensive Datejust. And I just don't wear it all that often. Oh, and you know what my other problem is, guys? I should have mentioned this too. I'm a sucker for a dive bezel. I mean, if it doesn't have a dive bezel, I better really love everything else about that watch, because it's such a sacrifice to me to not have the dive bezel. I mean, because to me, it's like a fidget spinner. Can you hear it? I don't know if you can hear it. But like to just play with the thing, it's just so satisfying. It's just especially Rolex, because Rolex has put so much thought and effort, and I don't know, man, they have made the perfect bezels. There are good bezels, there are better bezels, there are awful bezels, and then there's Rolex, and it's just miles above. If you think somebody does a better bezel than Rolex, you tell me in the comments. Go ahead, fight me on this one. I don't think so. So that Sky Dweller, it's going to have to go. So what did I say? I said the Sky Dweller, the 14060M, the 16613, the two-tone bluesy, and the Sea Dweller, the 43 millimeter Sea Dweller. Oh, and number 5 on the hit parade that's going to go is the Polar Explorer 42 millimeter. I worry a little that I might regret that one, because I have a bad habit. I don't know about you people, but I have a bad habit of selling a thing and then, regretting it later and rebuying. The rebuy. I've done that with multiple watches. The last one that I remember doing it with was the Tudor, the Burgundy Black Bay ETA edition. I have one now, but I seem to flip and rebuy that watch. So I'm going to give some very, very careful consideration to that Polar Explorer. But I think the reason I'm going to sell it is that although I like it very, very, very much, doesn't have my dive bezel. And although the complication is really cool, the GMT hand, I don't really find that as particularly useful. So it's not a big deal to me, that one. I think I will miss that watch. Honestly, I do, of all of them. That's the one I'm likeliest to miss. But what I'm focusing on is, what am I going to do with the money? Because if I don't have something to look forward to, all I'm doing is gutting the collection and feeling bad about it. I mean, mind you, I got to talk to you about what I'm keeping. So we'll get there in a second. But what I anticipate doing with the money is a combination of things. One would be, I'm looking really hot and heavy at a gold sub with the blue sunburst dial. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I kind of have the bug, and you guys will know what I'm talking about when you get the bug. Like, Do you think about anything else? You wear it in your sleep, in your mind. You try it and on constantly. You watch every Tim Masso video like 100 times over that he ever made on that watch. So, that's kind of where I've been. So we'll see. I don't really know what's going to happen there. Dicer asked me what I think of the Omega Seamaster No Time to Die. Well, I think it's overpriced. It's a cool looking watch, but I think it's overpriced. However, I have a full set Omega Seamaster 42 millimeter laser cut dial in black. That's going to go. And so it's not just Rolex that's going. Oh, and the SBG 229, which is the Grand Seiko diver that when I bought it, you guys all teased me and said I would flip it right away. Well, I've owned it, I don't know, coming up on like 2 years. I'm going to flip it. So you people finally get to be right. But you are like at least a year late. So I'm just going to say I won that bet. Again, it's a spring drive watch. It's cool. I have concerns that I may miss that Zarasso polishing. I may miss it, and I have concerns about that. But to be legit, I own Rolex, so when am I going to wear Grand Seiko? And at the end of the day, I just kind of don't. Although weirdly, that Grand Seiko is one of my only watches that ever got a compliment. So the gold sub, I'm really pondering on that one. And then the other thing is, this may take some of you by surprise if you haven't heard me say it. The other thing that I want to do is get a Panda. I want to get the new Panda black ceramic Daytona, right? And I'm on the list for that. As to whether you should pay a premium for it, that would kill me. I think I would probably pass. No, I would pass. This is just me. If you love that watch and you feel like you have to have it, I think you're reasonably safe paying the premium because they hold, they hold. But I don't love it quite enough, I don't think. At least let's say I'm not willing to gamble. So I've gone on a long, long waiting list, but I have reason to believe that eventually I should be able to get a Panda. And I'll tell you all about that and the buying experience if and when that happens. Panda's a little hard to read. Actually, all the Daytonas are a little hard to read. So my theory is I don't want to think about the Daytona as a watch, as a Rolex watch. I'm going to think of it as a Rolex bracelet that tells time if you squint at it really hard and for a long time, but it's a thing of beauty, and I really want to own that, and I really want to try that out. So those are the things that are coming. Now, what do I currently own that's staying? William Rizzo, truer words were never spoken. Watches are like drugs. And every once in a while, you have to change your drug. That's me. So, you got to out with the old and in with the new. Every once in a while, you got to, you have to flush the system and detox. What am I keeping? Well, I have a Hulk, and that's core. That's a core collection. That's not going anywhere. I have a black ceramic Submariner. So it's the bloody identical watch. One's green and one's black. And I don't know. I don't know. I got to think this one over. We're going to see what happens with the Rolex announcements, guys. I don't know how radically Rolex is going to change the Submariner. If they just make very tiny little tweaks to the Submariner, then my black won't be so enticing to keep. But here's the funny thing, okay? I wear the Hulk. I wear it. It's a very, very wearable watch. But I try and kind of like baby it a little. And so if I think there's any possibility that I might be banging it around, I tend to just put on the black one because I don't care what happens to that. Eventually, I'll just service that thing and they can, buff out whatever, anything bad that happens to it. But I would really like to just baby the Hulk a little bit more, okay? So I think maybe I need to keep both of those. But then if I get the gold sub, this is how my mind spins, okay? But then if I get the gold sub, I worry, checking the phone. I worry that then I'll have too many subs. These are lots of problems to have. Guys, I hate to cut you short, but I am looking at the clock. I'm a dog trainer. I have dogs to train, people to see, things to do, and I didn't realize we had tucked up to this time. So I pledge we will do this again. I will on the next live stream that I do, which I will try and do in the next couple of days. I will not focus on my rambling and my watch waffling. I will focus a lot more on your comments, and we'll just do a bang them out, read your comments, answer your questions. I'm sorry that I didn't get to that today. I had intended to. Anyway, let me go earn a living right now to pay for all this nonsense. making me crazy. Thank you guys for being with me. Please like this video if you get the chance. Subscribe. See you soon. We'll do this again, and I'll talk to you next time.